We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email john@nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
You're the joker, the expert, the voice, but you're one of the crowd. A vision of weakness, you're dull, but your voice is so loud. I'm the butt of your joke, 'cause I draw more girls you hang round. You kill to make your imprint on my soul.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters, the fans forum on a Monday night, and good evening to George, to Darren, who has changed his surname for the occasion. We've got 40 points, it says. Good evening to Kev, our resident coach, Barry, Pablo, Spenny Mag, Alan Thompson, and Chippers, aka John Parrott. No sign of the shy retiring Ian Sutcliffe yet, but News says that he is on his way, but he has been lubricating himself with beer this afternoon. So we'll wait and see what time he turns up.
Good happen, boys.
But George, yes, last week, all doom and gloom this week. Business as usual. A good performance, 3 goals, a clean sheet. Were you happy, George, leaving St James's Park on Saturday?
Couldn't be anything other than happy. I mean, everything just went right, and all the things we've been talking about on here clicked on Saturday. I mean, the big thing is that they did what we've been hoping to do. They defended from the front, so there was no big gaps. The gaps that Kev talked about just weren't there. They were pressed as a unit. You know, when they went forward as a unit, not 2 separate units. And it was great to see. Just absolutely magnificent. I mean, good goals, and it could have been a lot more against a team that's been doing well away from home. I mean, Wolves are on a hot streak at the moment. Yes, they had 1 or 2 people missing, but so did we. Big difference for me. Biggest difference was Willock's extra yard of pace in midfield. It left Bruno be able to sit back and do his thing, conduct from the back, instead of having to try and do everything forward and back. And so he was better for it. And that extra yard that Willock's got give work was so important. It was almost vital. And the usual contributors did the good thing. I mean, Fabian Schär's long balls are to be admired wherever he plays. I mean, the number of times he caught them out over the top, down the side, in the channel, he played them all, and it's just a pity that Joe Linton's not on to take advantage of them, because he knows where to pick them up. But there was lots of good things about it. And the fact that we were a unit again meant that Dan Burn didn't get exposed. He got exposed a couple of times, but dealt with it very well. And when he was in slight danger, there was always somebody there to pick it up. The thing that encouraged me from the off was Gordon was his nasty little waspy self again. He was in people's face from the kickoff right to the end, and some of the runs he made to backtrack. I think there's one run in the second half particularly. He actually lost the ball, and he ran nearly 40 yards at full tilt to get it back, and he got it back. And I thought, well, that's the commitment we've been looking for. So many good things. when Dubravka was needed, he was there. He wasn't found wanting again. No, it could have been a lot more. They had some near miracle saves on the line, Wolves, and that sort of thing. But hey, who's going to be greedy? Well, I am usually a greedy little duck, but 3-0 wasn't bad against that team because not many people were forecasting very much. I mean, in the pre-match chatting, the two Johns weren't terribly confident what was going to happen, but that's John Anderson and John Gibson. But it was great, absolutely wonderful to see them back at that sort of form. Now, the big one is can they hold it? Can they hold it? And of course, the longer they do, the better, because more and more of the injured players, like Anderson and others, are coming back in, and Willock will start to find his feet even better now that he's had a run out. Just lots of positives. I'm not going to go to Miggy. Miggy is a bit sad for me at the moment. He's trying to sell him in the summer. Has knocked the stuffing out of him. I think there's any doubt about that. Piece of video I enjoyed, watching Bruno come off the pitch, and who should be waiting for him up in the tunnel with Joe Linton, and the smiles and the hugs told you an awful lot. Anybody's worried about Joe Linton, he's not going anywhere, for God's sake. You just need to see him. He's happy where he is. But I suspect Mr. Ashworth's had something to do with that, but that's another story. Fantastic. I couldn't be happier, and I forecasted a win on Friday, but even that, the manner and the size of the win did surprise me, but a very positive surprise. Bit concerned when Trippier went off injured, but it didn't look serious. He seemed to walk around the pitch quite quite easily. And all the guys shouting Tino got their wish. He scored a goal as well. So so much positive. I could, I'll fill the hour in if I go on. Fine. So sorry. Yeah, fantastic. That's all I want to say, Steve. Great.
Yeah, great stuff, Darren. We've got 40 points. You're obviously celebrating the fact that we're staying up for another year.
Yes, we are. Again, I think George hit it on there. Joe Willock. I'm a big fan of Joe Willock. He's been a big miss since he's been out, and you can tell that he's not match fit. But the more games he plays, he's going to get fit on, and like a good week's rest and training will do him a world of good. Because if he's still in the pit, I would have given him a match, but Bruno's got to get it. His non-pass was unbelievable. But anyhow, Chitty tacked a little bit. We didn't like high press them. We sat back as a unit a lot more than what we usually do. And when Wolves were on the attack, soon we broke them up. We hit them on the counter attack. And the first goal, there was some run by Bruno, a lot of hell of a run for Isaac's goal anyway. But fair play to Bruno, and he made some ground for that first goal. But it's here again. I would just cringe on Dan Burn a little bit. I still don't trust him. That's been really negative. I'm sorry. He done a few bad things for me. I just don't. I like him, but he's hits the ball dead. Doesn't head at anybody. He's got ball watches a few times. Matty Longstaff, Sean Longstaff, he was dreadful. I thought he was absolutely dreadful, mate. But good job. Well, it was there. And Bruno ran the midfield. But all in all, I'm happy with the 3 points and how we played, and just bring on Chelsea and just see how we'll go against them. That's going to be a hard game for us.
Okay, good stuff. I mean, I'll defend Dan Burn. He's a victim of the system that Eddie continues to play, and he gives it the best of his ability. And I didn't think Dan Burn had a bad game.
I had an okay game. It's just like it just does like annoying thing at time. Like this, I don't know. It just doesn't look right as a left back. Now it's just sort of show a lot more than ever now.
He reminds me, Daz, of when you go to the bar and it's your round. You just look, a little bit uncomfortable. Not quite right.
The problem is he's part of the system which allows Kieran Trippier to push up. It's as simple as that, really. I think we all know that, in our heart of hearts, Dan Burn is probably a centre half, but Eddie made the decision when Matt Targett got injured, that he was going to be his left back, and he's not let us down. We got to 4th place in the Premier League, we got Champions League football, and we got to a cup final with Dan Burn playing in that position. But like the rest of the back four, he's not getting any younger. And that area, as well as centre half, will need to be looked at moving forward. There's no doubt Tino Livramento will do a job in there for many years to come as right back. But yeah, it's interesting. My defence mechanism with Dan Burn's probably been raised to Teflon 10 because of the guy who was sitting behind us at the match who just spent 90 minutes slagging Dan Burn off, really, it just annoys me when people do that. But you're not one of them, Darren. So moving on to Kev.
He said had a good game.
Yeah.
He's 100%. I'm not like I like Dan Burn's ability. He gives 110%. He's worked with you can't fault. People do overreact to some of the stuff he does, but I like him as a player. I like him as a player who works hard. You can't have any more than that.
Yeah, it was collectively, it was a really good team performance. We won 3-0. The defence kept a clean sheet. End of story. As far as I'm concerned, but we've all got opinions. We've all got players we like, and Dan Burn's definitely one for me. Okay, Kev. Newcastle. I think a lot of people that I've heard over the course of the last couple of days, were saying that Newcastle, were sitting deeper. Bruno was controlling the game from a deeper position, but really, what Newcastle discovered was the pressing game again. That's what I made out, Kev. And somebody has already mentioned it, and plenty of people in the chat have mentioned it as well. The return of Willock, a massive difference.
Yeah, no, it wasn't just a full intense high press like what we've seen previously. It was measured. It was done very well, tactically very well. It's a measured press. I've always said you press with your heart or your head. You all go or you all sit off. Mainly, I just wrote down. Unfortunately, watched 50 minutes, so forgive me for the last part of it. I had games to go to, but it was mainly from their goal kicks. And if we won the ball high, or they give the ball away, or we give the ball away higher up, that's when we pressed. We didn't press when they, centre half receives the ball. We just quite happily dropped off and quite happily sat in. But for me, the big thing, the phrase I'm going to use tonight is the midfield had a bit more maturity in it, and a bit more nous and a bit more understanding of the shape. And I'm not knocking Lewis Miley in any way, shape, or form. Fabulous footballer, but you would have thought Joe Willock was younger than him. Just the way he brings more athleticism to the game, because Lewis Miley hasn't got that pace. But they're both very good footballers, but they bring different attributes, and I think that's kind of hindered us in a way that we want to play. I thought Joe Willock was fantastic for what I've seen. He brought that energy, getting into the box late. Should have really scored with that header, but the lad flicked it off. He stood and went wide, but that happens. It's good defending if you look at it. Lucky defending. But I thought the balls down in between the lines, in between centre half and full back for Anthony Gordon and others in the forward area were what we need. He's forward, positive thinking. He's always on the front foot. Not saying Lewis Miley isn't, but I think he's more of the get it, receive it, give it simple to a Bruno, give it to a Sean Longstaff, and that passes on the responsibility, which is fair enough. I probably would do the same thing as a 17-year-old. There's a naivety about that, but he's learning. That's his process. He's still learning as a young lad. But I thought the midfield, like I said, had a lot more maturity. I think, well, I don't know. Sean Longstaff didn't play, but I don't know. I didn't recognize. I didn't see him on the park. I think it was more the Joe Willock and Bruno Guimaraes show. To be honest, I thought Bruno was fabulous and he's world class. That ball to Miggy. We could talk about Miggy's decision making. That's just Miguel Almiron at the minute. But that's the type of caliber player we have in our central midfield, in the other caliber of player of Joe Willock, for argument's sake. But again, there was I've said this for weeks, and I don't know if other shows, other people have been watching this show, but are pundits of the like, of our midfield were too high, and there was that 20-yard gap in between our midfield and back four.
Yeah.
Now that gap's closed. Now, do we have do we have trust of the back four getting tighter, like 10, 15 yards further up the field to do that press? Or is it just sort of saying to the midfield, stay there and let the front three work, and you pick a position off of the front three when they work with a different type of press? So it's not full. It's pick your moments, pick your choice when you do it. Because Wolves are a good side. I mean, they were unbeaten all pretty much all season away from home. So it wasn't going to be an easy task. So for them to not buckle under the pressure, essentially, but we made them fall into mistakes. We won the ball back. We're seeing Fabi Shaw win the ball higher into the middle third, like he used to do. So that gives the opportunity to our players, for whoever it is, midfield groups, back four, to get higher up the field, which applies. That's how the pressure was applied. We had a bit more intensity. It didn't take a lot. It's just getting closer to people. That's all it was. And I thought it was a brilliant performance. You take one of the informed wingers in the Premier League at the minute. He goes into double figures. That's his best ever as a Premier League footballer, in Anthony Gordon. Now he's got 9. I've seen a stat where he's played 80-odd games and only got 9 goals a season or whatever for Everton. Now he's got 10 in 27 or something like that for us. So within one season. So his now development is no end. He's our catalyst on the counter-attack, similarly with Miggy a couple of years ago. The pace, the directness of him, and even it was one ball what Joe Willock played into him down the side, and I think it was when Willock actually missed that chance, and actually Dan Burn done an overlap and he made a cross for him. I almost fell out my chair when I seen actually Dan Burn going beyond and making a cross. But it was good. But that
nice ball as well.
Good football. What?
It was a lovely ball from Burn as well.
Oh yeah. It was a 2-yard pass, but he had to sort his gangly legs out to dig it out from underneath him and to get it onto Willock's head. But at the same time, so the notion of that Dan Burn will go in to make a 3, that was kind of flawed. It's flawed, a little not flawed, but it's not always going to be that way. Sometimes Trippier can tuck in and make a 3 if the ball goes down the left. That's just being balanced. This is easy coaching, really. But again, we got another positive is we didn't concede. We played well. We controlled the game. And long may it continue. And I think if we go down to Chelsea and have the same mindset and same attitude, I think we'll get another positive result. Whatever that, I'm not giving score lines away or whatever, but it's a 1-0. That it'll still get you points. With 4 points off of Man United, who are sitting 5th. So there's a carrot that's got to be dangled in front of you. Can you go and catch Man United? Can we go and chase and see because we've got them to go. We've got them. We've got Chelsea, then West Ham, which are 2 massive games at home, which are 1 away. Then we've got West Ham and whoever else we've got. I can't remember. So if we can get 2,
we've got Everton as well, Kevin. We've got Everton.
Yeah, Everton.
West Ham.
Everton.
And
Spurs at home as well. Spurs at home.
7 points out of them. If we get 7 points out of that, then look, it doesn't look too bad at the end of the day going into the latter part of the season. So yeah, it was a great result. I had a good weekend as a coach. It was a wins all the way around. It was brilliant. So yeah, I'll move on to Barry. Sorry for taking time.
Yeah, no problem at all. Go on, Barry.
Yeah, it's exactly what we needed. It was the sort of performance that the fans wanted. You got the impression watching Eddie Howe's press conference before the game that he was a little bit pissed off with the way he's been getting abuse and obviously the stuff that's been chucked at the team. And you sit and watch it and you think, I hope this does get a reaction, and it did. I totally agree with what the guys have said. I thought Willock was like a breath of fresh air. adding some pace to the team, but just the whole midfield seemed to be more confident. I did feel a bit sorry for Miley because I thought, did he deserve to get dropped out for Longstaff? Because Longstaff for me has been absolutely woeful. But then Miley's played an awful lot of games for a 17-year-old kid, so maybe it was the right decision. But I would be concerned if I was Longstaff once the likes of Anderson starts getting back into fitness that he's going to get dropped completely, because I just think he's been really poor. But yeah, I mean, you guys said it before there, Wolves are a decent side. I thought Neto, who was their big, huge threat going forward, yes, he did, twice take Burn for speed and get past him. But like somebody very kindly put in the chat before there, Trippier got done 3 times on the other side. So why is Dan Burn any worse? I was so proud of Big Dan Burn. He got stuck in. He looked solid. He obviously isn't the sort of person who lets the flack get to him, because he doesn't seem to be bothered by it, considering the amount of stick he gets off Newcastle fans. But yeah, great all-round performance. Roll on to the next one. Hopefully we can keep it going, and obviously people coming back is only going to make us stronger.
Yep. Ian, good evening, mate.
Evening. Sorry I was a little bit late. I will pay my fine later.
That's all right, mate. That's good.
You've been drinking away.
It's all marked down, Ian.
Yeah.
I got trapped to the meeting.
Give us your with the barman. Give us your views on the weekend's game, mate.
Can I give you my views on Blackburn first, because I've not spoken to you since then?
Go on then, yeah. Our roving reporter.
Here we go. Everybody's name on the bus.
Benny, if only we could show the viewers what you've just put before about cleaning your ceiling.
Oh dear.
What happens in the private chat stays in the private chat.
That stays in the private, yeah. I'll tell other people elsewhere. No, right. Blackburn was one of the most disappointing performances I've seen. I thought we were woeful, but that's all I'm going to say on Blackburn. I said to Tommy, we were on the way down to go on Saturday, and I said to Tommy, I think I've got a feeling about this game. And we were running late. Tommy, as always, he's got his one football on, and he's like, team sheet's out. And we both looked at the team sheet and we're like, that's the best bench we've had since the first game of the season.
Comment, Ian. You pinched me comment. That's exactly what I was going to say.
At first, yeah, Alan, honestly, the best bench we've had since the first game of the season. Yeah. And we had Willock, which gave us legs. But I said to Tommy, I went, we're going to smash these today, because the lads can go out and they can run for 60 minutes and know if the legs have gone, there's something else to come on. And that is what we've been missing. And that's what happened. And I know Willock made a massive difference, and I'm not in any way downplaying Willock. He was up and down. He was box to box. He was everywhere. He wasn't, it wasn't the greatest performance. I thought, if we're going to talk about great performances, for me, Bruno was fucking mint. Apologies for the language, but absolutely, he was mint. Like Longstaff for the first 10 minutes, I'd have rather had our Tommy playing, but then he came back into it. I wouldn't say he was more than a 7 out of 10, but at least he did something which he hasn't done for months for me. But as a team, they didn't look scared. Mm-hmm. They had intensity, which is, as we all know, our identity, and they went after it, and they went after him, and they were like a bunch of wasps on the pitch. So everyone's saying it's all down to Joe Linton. Don't get me wrong, Big Joe is probably one of the most important people we put on that football pitch when he plays for us. But the fact that we had somebody to come on, we had 5 or 6 even options on the bench, that's what makes a difference for me. And that is like, so all these knobheads saying Eddie out and that, Eddie out. Eddie, yes, he doesn't make the changes that we want him to make at times. I know that. But it's because he doesn't trust the players that he could bring on. Now he's got players that he trusts to bring on. Then you see the true Newcastle United come back. And it wasn't the greatest performance we've played. And it may be 3-0 flattered us. But that was back to what we want to see. And I was absolutely buzzing.
Good stuff. All right, Ian. Thanks for that. Lee, good evening.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Very good, mate. Very good. You went to Blackburn as well, mate. Did you unfortunately bump into Ian?
No, he dodged us. He dodged us because he was with his
Good man.
Good man. Well
He
done.
didn't-
That deserves a paint.
I didn't want to get involved
He
in
didn't
Busted.
want to introduce him to his really good-looking mate, so he doesn't.
Oh, there was big travel problems going into the Blackburn game, hence the late kickoff. But yeah, probably just to back up what Ian said. I mean, what a week for Newcastle. We get our arses handed to us against Arsenal, in probably the worst performance that we think we've seen. I went to the Blackburn game in the FA Cup, and to mirror what Ian said, it's probably the worst, up until about 70 minutes, the worst game of football I've seen at any level. You know, we made Blackburn look like the Premier League team. But there's a couple of things that I picked out in that. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of grief for Dan Burn at the moment. That lad, Dan Burn, was playing against a lad at 5'3", who's an absolute flying machine. And I was sat at the Blackburn end, so I was getting updates from this Blackburn kid next to me. And he said he's an absolute flying machine. Well, I tell you what, he didn't get past him. So, you know, fair play to Dan Burn, just to kind of give him a bit of a big up. Another thing I noticed, my missus says Jamal Lascelles is shit. You know, that's her assessment. So I've got to go with
I thought about Ali now. We know the high in. We missed the header.
Yeah.
I thought about Alan. I know what Alan's going to say.
No, her words were, what does he actually do? He just doesn't kind of be in the centre and just...
You know what, Lee? My missus hates football as well, and I took her to watch Newcastle play Liverpool at home once. And, you know, she said exactly the same about Shola Amiobi. She knows nothing about football. And she went, why does he keep falling on the ground?
Exactly, why would you? The only thing I did notice, I mean, we all know my feelings. I think that night, Trippier, for me, couldn't trap a bag of cement. And I know it's going to go against popular opinion. I've spoken to you about it, Steve.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yes,
you're right.
He might provide great balls into the box and he may assist. But where he's got us 10 assists this year, he's probably cost us 5 or 8 goals. For me, I'm a little bit old school in the fact that I like my defenders to defend, then let's go forward. For me, he doesn't do the defending well enough at the moment. So I'm obviously in the Tino camp. So at weekend, I was dead chuffed when Tino come on and did what he did. Obviously the Blackburn game, I don't think, for me, Almiron, when he come on, actually changed it. You know, when we put Gordon in the centre, Almiron on the right, the link-up play between these two lads, for me, it changed it. You know, I don't know what anybody else. Ian, what do you think?
I think you're right. I think he's right, Ian. I mean, I've got to say, I think. Look, this is the same point I made about Dan Burn, and I'll let you have your say in a minute, Ian. I just think that it's an aging defence, and I think they'll move on. And I think it's a great point. I've never heard anyone make that point on the show, in any of the shows, about Kieran Trippier costing us goals as well as all the assists. But go on, Ian. I'm interested to hear what you think.
First of all, with Miggy, I actually seen Miggy on Thursday because Tommy goes to Pont High, and Miggy was picking one of his kids up from there. So I had a word with him, and I said, "Pull your finger out of your ass." And he went,
"Wonderful."
And he went, "Yeah, I did."
Did he smile on you?
What did I didn't. No, I didn't. Actually, what I went was, Miggy.
Was you naked?
No. That lad can't speak English because he went, "Fuck off, you knob."
I'm going to move on to Spenny now because Spenny tells a million words when he's listening to you.
He's had no.
One more thing to say. Pablo just said something then about Dan Burn, and Dan Burn, he will get skinned, and my band, and he'll get skinned. But what he does and what he gives is, in which we see when he goes to the back three, he gives a solid defensive unit to us, and that's what he gives us. So when Trips went off, and Dan Burn was basically playing as a left-sided centre back, and it gave all the. We had a different game.
No, he wasn't playing left centre, playing left back.
The boy says, Blue Rhythm Boy says, shame to hear some fans wishing Trippier a long time out. Nobody's wishing him a long time out. I just think people see a lot in Trippier.
Lee's right at the nail on the head. Trippier has let us down. I think he should have been dropped.
But he's been good. But he has been a talisman. He's been a great player, a great servant. The player that came to Newcastle when many big names wouldn't have come to Newcastle, when it looked as if we were going to get relegated again, when the takeover had just gone through, there was no guarantees it was all going to go swimmingly. Kieran Trippier put his, for his own personal reasons as well. His wife wasn't settled in the other country. We saw it on the Amazon documentary, and they got a move. He came, took a drop in wages, and came to Newcastle. And for what he's done in the first 2 years, we should always be grateful. However, I do agree that if form dips and a player is form is dipping, they shouldn't be beyond being dropped. But as I always say, Eddie Howe is the one person who sees the lads day to day, week to week. We don't get a chance to see that, and he also will take into consideration the dynamics in the dressing room. And I do think what happened at Christmas and the transfer window probably caused a bit of disruption in the dressing room. We know that the club tried to sell Miggy Almiron, so it's no wonder that we're not seeing the same Miggy prior to the transfer window. Imagine what he must feel like knowing that the club now want to sell him. They want to sell him to Saudi Arabia. He must be disappointed. There has to be some truth in what was going on with Trippier. There has to be. That why else would he say that he was happy to go to Bayern Munich? He was happy to negotiate and go. He must want to leave the club.
Who comes off a holiday in New York via Munich?
Exactly. Look, we know that there's going to be big changes in the summer, and don't be surprised if a few big names go. But what will happen with Newcastle United, because they didn't spend in January, because they've got money coming in via various avenues, Newcastle will have a big summer. So the players going out will be surpassed by the players coming in. Spenny, you've had to wait a long time there, mate. You were nearly asleep when Ian was speaking. I don't blame you. What was your view on the game, Spenny?
Oh, it was great. It was brilliant how he's changed the tactics for the game. I was changed it so dramatically, and it should have been maybe 2 or 3 games away for me. Man of the matches, I don't know if we're doing them now. It's all the way through to me. Jabraka, Shah, Bruno, Isaac, Gordon, all of them are at the same level. The man of the match for me, all 5 of them. Also, Bruno's did a good corner as well, did he? Did you notice the corner he took when he took Trippier up? It was a good corner, nice straight in the middle.
3.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I thought the subs made a difference as well when they came on at the end as well. I thought they did the difference and got that goal at the end. Made it more tight as well, because the lads have said, they were getting the legs were going a bit, some of them. But for me, I'm over the moon for the result. Bring it on, and hopefully we play that system more and more, because it works effectively as well.
A message in from Ian. He says Spenny's heat has more craters than the dark side of the moon.
Right. A lot of lasses have landed on it.
Alan, I heard you say people have stole your thunder tonight, mate. I'm sure you've still got an opinion.
Yeah, fantastic, lads. Majority of what's already been said, I agree with. I thought the bench made the difference. I thought it was just tremendous to have the bench to be able to change it. Great 3 points. I didn't expect it. I thought we'd get beat. So to win, it's even more better. Getting back to the Blackburn result, Lascelles just shows you, like Darren said, when he made that mistake for their goal, that's what he does. He's 100% up, but he drops clangers, and that's why we need to change the defence going forward, because they're all over 30 lads, apart from Botman. I thought Willicks runs. He runs as fast as what I can, but he's really good. He's really good. And it showed. It was long busts and runs. It was good. Shaw, 3 passes for the goals were fantastic. Is there a better ball playing centre half in the country for £3 million? Fantastic. No. Centre half. The money we paid for him.
Apparently, Alan, Lee runs faster when he says Ian when he's at Blackburn.
Spenny, not as fast as Lee's missus did.
Well, you had 15 more minutes to get into the ground, that's for sure, with a delay. But honestly, lads, what a difference a week makes. 2 wins. We're all feeling a lot better about it. I certainly do. I think there's top 6 position there to be taken. Every game's a cup final now, lads. Chelsea away, I want to win. Desperately want to beat them. Was on a Chelsea podcast this afternoon. They all want Poch out. They're all crying because they spent £1 billion for a crap team, and he's only had 7 or 8 months. The lad hasn't been given a chance. So I don't want to go down like Ian said about the Howe business, and Howe hasn't changed the squad hardly. He's hardly changed the squad, lads. If you look at the team players that were there when he took over, half of them I could name I would want gone tomorrow. But he can't do that even in the next summer window. But there will be big changes, and long may it continue. And then on to the Man City game. So I'm just going to switch the TV off for that one, because there hasn't, apparently for 3 years, there hasn't been a clean sheet by the opposition team. 3 years, so we've got to score 2 goals against them to win the game. So I forget about that and skip on to the next game after that one, lads. But a great performance, and I'm pleased. I'm really chuffed to bits the way the team played.
Good stuff, Chippers.
I was just going to say regarding the Blackburn game, I mean, they had the delay, didn't they, before the game? Now I'm just wondering if Ian had started talking to a few fans, and, he just kept talking and talking. And, that's why there was the delay. I think the ticket thing is just an excuse,
He was talking to the referee. He's talking to the referee.
He had an all right game, though, didn't he?
He did.
But I think, I'll go back to Saturday, forget the Blackburn game now. I just thought it just looked more, it was more routine, I would say, as opposed to anything else. It looked a comfortable game. There was no danger I don't think there was any danger we're getting beat, which was more like last season. I think the fact they were missing Cunha and Huang, and the playing Neto up front, which he seems isolated up front, it takes away the best of his ability playing on the right-hand side. It made it better for us because all they did with the balls passed sideways, and it was predictable. It was predictable for what they were doing. As soon as Neto went off, that was their game over. They had no real. They had chances in the second half, but I always thought we were always managing the game. That no coincidence with the likes of Willock coming back in and fresh legs and just a bit more. They looked confident on Saturday. The last 2 games, I didn't think we looked any confidence at all. I thought, as soon as we got that goal, we got the second goal, we just managed the game after that so much better. And something that we haven't done for a long, long time is just being able just to say, what, we can control it. Box seat, we can just manage the game. We can save legs. We don't need to chase. We can chase when we want. We don't have to chase unnecessary causes. I don't even think we got a yellow card on Saturday. Am I right? I think
there was no yellow cards, was there?
I think one of their players did for the second half. Yeah. One of their players got one second half. That's it. But people might look at and think, "Oh, why there wasn't much at Arsenal because we didn't put a tackle in." Well, Saturday we didn't need to put a tackle in because there was nothing to really get stuck into because it was that comfortable of a game. And it's a shame about Trippier's injury. And I just wonder if he got it at Blackburn because he came off, didn't he? And I just wonder if he got it at Blackburn. He's played through it, and it's obviously triggered it on Saturday, but. I mean, we've got a replacement for that area, and he came on and scored a goal. So, very positive. Keep clean sheet as well. Considering when was the last time we kept one? Was it the Fulham in the cup game? But the Fulham
December the
16th. We saw back,
mid-December.
Fulham at home, yeah. So that's nearly 3 months. It's a long time in the league without a clean sheet. So, and it's our first home win since then as well, which was massive because our home form recently hasn't been that great. So. Hopefully now with the run of fixtures we've got, I don't fear going to places like Chelsea anymore, Man United anymore that we've got Spurs to come at St James's. So if we keep ourselves in good nick, we keep these players fit. Who's to say we can't win 11 games, or who's to say we can't go the rest of the season unbeaten with draws and wins? You can't rule it out with the fixtures we've got. So. Everything's in our hands. It's just we've got to go out there and take the opportunity that we'll get.
Yeah, I agree. agree with that, Chip.
I thought the referee had a good game, man. He's one of the best I've seen in St James's season.
Well, it does worry me though, Spenny, that he actually stopped the game to make sure Burden got the captain's armband on. What fancy having that in your bloody mind in the middle of a game.
I know that was a bit.
I wonder where their minds are, to be honest. Never mind. That just
apart from that, he was all right though, George. To be fair,
he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah,
he was the
absolutely
best
right.
of a really, really shit bunch this season to me. So.
Well, was his third game.
Ian, the important thing for me is with the referee, you hardly noticed he was there.
Yes, exactly.
That matters.
Yeah. It was good that.
Okay.
He let the game flow, didn't he?
40 minutes to the show, and we'll have a quick ad break. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Go to their website, skipsandbins.com. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com or telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Go to their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to United Group Travel. Go to their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email info@unitedgrouptravel.com or phone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. They're a local company from Morpeth and there are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. Big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button under the video. Click the thumb up to like the video and click share to share to your social media. If you want to help the channel financially, you can pay a one-off £25 fee. You get a cup, a scarf, a pen and a membership card and entry into the NUFC Matters monthly draw. Email john@nufcmatters.com for more details. Or if you've got a smartphone, scan the QR code now and it takes you straight to the membership pack. We also support the food bank on this channel. Go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and you'll find the matchday bucket. You can make a donation virtually today. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify and other podcast providers. We also do events during the year. NUFC Matters Live will be at the O2 City Hall on Friday the 2nd of August for an evening with Rob Lee, one night in Antwerp. Tickets start at £15 and you can get them from ticketmaster.co.uk. An evening with the entertainers takes place on Friday the 24th of January 2025 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House in Newcastle. Telephone 0844 249 1000 or visit the website tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk to buy tickets today. You can also catch me on the North East Footy Breakfast Show live on Toon Radio weekdays 7 till 9 a.m. on DAB, smart speakers and the toonuk.com. And tickets for the end of season due are on sale. £10 a ticket, 20th of July from nufcmatters.com or newcastlelegends.com. Super Matt and Gibbo, Ask George and local band Stannington helping raise money for Dementia Matters. And tickets are on sale now or for the Peter Beardsley gig on the 2nd of June at the Irish Centre from newcastlelegends.com. And don't forget, the auction is in full swing. I've stuck the link in the chat. Got some goodies up there, including signed Pavel Cernacek print, Kevin Keegan, signed Nobby Solano, signed Kevin Nolan against the Mackhams, and signed Alan Shearer testimonial pick. Get yourself onto the link and you can put a bid in. Bid starting at around about £20 for some of those items, so you can pick up a bargain this week. Okay, question that came in a little bit earlier. I'm interested to hear what the panel. I'm going to start with you, Chippers, this time. So the Popular Images says their thoughts on Barnes since his return. What have you made of Harvey Barnes?
I just think he needs more games. I mean, he was out, was it, for 4 months? I think the way I look at it is when a player gets injured, it probably takes them that length of time to get back. So I would say you'll not see the best of him probably till next season, unfortunately, because of the injury he's had. But I don't see what he's done anything wrong. I just think he's not fit. He needs games, and the more training he has, the more games he'll play, the better he'll get. I don't see why. I see a few people have nitpicked at him, and I think, well, you know, he's just come back from injury. That's a bit harsh on the young lad. You know, it's his first season here. Give him a chance. You can't judge him after, was it 8 games? How many games he played? Barely 10 games for or something. So the way I say it is, give him the full rest of the season and give him a full season when he's fit to judge him.
Same for you, Alan?
Copy and paste. Actually, Chippers couldn't have said it better, really. I mean, he did have a poor game against Blackburn, but really didn't make much of an impact. But really, you cannot really tell when the lad's only had come back from a serious injury for 4 months. You've got to give him time. It's just like Isaac, you know, is gradually getting built up his strength. So give the lad a chance. You know, you've got to give him a full season next season to see how he is, whether he will be able to step up to the next level and get in the top 4. Because obviously next year, lads, we're aiming for top 4 surely with a good summer window. That's what we should be aiming for again from now on for the rest of my life. That's where I want Newcastle United to be. We're aiming for the top 4 minimum every season. So give the lad a chance. I totally agree with what Chipper said.
Spenny, good point made by Blue Rhythm Boy. It took Gordon time to settle. Barnes will be the same, and he's had a head injury. He's had an injury early doors. So yeah, I mean, it does take players time to get back.
Well, I think he's lacking a bit of confidence himself. I think I pointed out yesterday most of the signings that were made in the summer not getting games, unfortunately. Why Tonali won't get games because he's suspended. I think he's not getting picked, and he wants to know why. And I think there's a bit of something behind the scenes with him, to be honest. Why he's asking why he's not getting picked. He's not getting put on the pitch. I would have played him instead of Almiron or even Murphy on Saturday. I would have put Gordon on the other side for me. I think Barnes should be playing a full game. At the end of the day, even George will tell you, an ex-footballer, you train as much as you want, you be as fit as you want. Yeah. But when you're not playing full games, you're not match fit until you play them games, even if it's just 70 minutes.
Yeah, the touch goes.
Yeah. Lee, Harvey Barnes, what have you made of his return?
It's by the by, isn't it? The lad's been out for a long time. Yeah, he could have hit the ground running, or he's going to take a little bit of time. But I mean, don't forget he scored that class goal when he come back. I think there's definite class within there. So I think just a little bit of patience, as long as the lad's patient about it. Which, if you think about it, as a young player, he's come to Newcastle from Leicester, so he's going to have, knowing that he's got an injury, so he's going to have an element of patience about him. So I think even himself will be looking at playing next year. If he's not playing next year, then it's time to knock on Eddie's door. But I think he'll be liking it. Well, I'm not going to say he's liking not playing, but he will understand there's a process when you're out for that length of time to come back into a side. You know, we're dealing with high margins here. We're not playing on a Sunday. You've got to be at peak physical condition.
It's a great Pablo, because in the day, how long was Willock out and how long was he taking the play?
Yeah, good shout, yeah. But Willock's hit the ground running, hasn't he? Like I say, it could have gone either way. He could have come in and been absolutely electric, but it's just one of them. It might take a bit of time with him.
Willock had 2 injuries as well, didn't he? He had one which he was recovering from, and then he picked up another one. So he had an Achilles, and then was it his hamstring first, and then his Achilles, or the other way around? But he's had double the thing to recover from. But it's a good point you make, Spenny. Ian, Harvey Barnes, have we seen enough of him, do you think, to be able to give an opinion yet?
I love Harvey Barnes, me. And I think that we've not even seen anywhere near what he's going to do for us. He's already proven his goal scoring. He, for me, outside of our 2 strikers, is without a doubt the best finisher that we have in the team. He's so calm. He's a bit like me. He doesn't look like he's doing that much. When I come on the fans forum and that.
He's not very good then.
What's up? He doesn't look like he's doing that much, but then what he does, he just comes on and comes out with a proper perler, scores a winning goal, makes everyone else look good and goes, thanks, lads, I'm here next week.
Did you just compare him to Andrea?
No, I'm not. No, and I know you might think I'm getting a bit big for me boots, so I'm not doing But,
to be fair, somebody in the chat before, Darren, criticised you for biting your nails. I tell you what, it's a good job he didn't come on the night you had the knife.
Well, please, can I just say, right? I'm going to tell everyone in the chat who hasn't actually met Daz. Daz is actually like a really cheerful lad. You know what I mean? He is. He just comes on here and fucking rages like a pro. He's weird. And when I meet him, he's like, "Oh yeah." He never buys a pint, but apart from that, he's you know what I mean? He's all right.
Tim said Ian is fans forums professional.
No.
Tim, I think you've been drinking what Ian drinks.
Professional bullshit.
Harvey Barnes.
How can you follow that? I'm now going to have it in my head that Ian believes he is the same as Harvey Barnes.
Well,
I'm not quite sure what.
I think he meant Alan, but we'll carry on, Barry.
Okay.
Alan Barnes.
Alan Barnes.
Ooh. Cheers.
Yeah, I think Barnes is class. I mean, his first game back, he looked tremendous. He hit the ground running first game. Yes, he struggled against Blackburn, but the kids, I don't really want to say this after that, but I do agree with a lot of the stuff Ian said there, that Barnes is at times he's looked more natural goal scorer than Gordon. And I mean, Christ, Gordon's banging them in right, left and centre. Once you get Barnes anywhere near fully fit, I think he's going to offer us different options. He can play on the right, he can play on the left. I think he's great going forward. He's going to be an incredible player. I just think it's just one of those things. He's been out for a while. I do agree with what the guy said. I didn't expect Willock to come back and have such a burst as he has, because obviously he's been out for an awful long time. But some players do, Steve. It's something that happens, that some players hit the ground running and some take a couple of games to get up to speed. But yeah, Barnes is one for the future. I think he'll be a star for a long time to come.
Kevin?
Basically 2 words: stop start, unfortunately. And there's a lot of promise, there's a lot of quality in there. It's just getting back up at full fitness. I agree with pretty much everybody. He just needs game time, but it's where does he fit in? Where how can he get in with the quality of this, all the shape that we want to play? And I agree. I think Spenny said that I would have played maybe going on the right side and maybe Barnes on the left, vice versa, whichever way you want to put it. I think they can do both the job either side. Because I think Miggy's days are numbered. But again, Eddie Howe, what he sees every day in training, and does he provide that output in terms of quality or work rate or whatever it is? As we know, he's had a freak injury in terms of his foot. So again, that's not going to not say hinder him, but not heal overnight. It's going to take a process. But again, I feel a little bit sorry for him, to be honest. I think he's a very, very good player. Played in not a brilliant Leicester side, but he's more of a, I wouldn't say a high pressing or what we call gang press style player. I think he's more of a counter-attacking type of winger, where it's balls over the top, usually pace, give him an early drive at the player, versus, all right, Harvey, go and work your nuts off and try and get the ball back as quickly as you can. It's 2 different types, different qualities, different traits. So, just a little bit stop-start, not saying this season's going to be a wash for him, but, just try and bet him in gradually for period of time here, depending on who the team is. But I think it's more next season where we'll see the best of Harvey Barnes moving forward, to be honest.
Darren, would you agree?
I'm not. I think he needs to show a lot more desire and hunger, because against Blackburn he was dreadful. Yes, he's been out injured a long time, but good players like Joe Wilkes maybe had 2 injuries. He's shown some desire to bust the gut. Harvey Barnes hasn't yet. I know he's not match fit, but I want a lot more off him when he comes off the bench. Mm-hmm. He bust the gut a lot more.
Don't you think he was like that at Blackburn because he wasn't in the team?
Leicester.
No, Blackburn.
At Blackburn when he wasn't picked for the team.
Oh, right, okay.
No, I just think.
I think he was like.
Across the ball, he wasn't busting the gut.
Well, when he wasn't picked for the whole team, he wasn't picked from the start. That's why I think Barnes is where he is at the moment.
Yeah, I'm saying that. But if I'm a manager, I want you to come on the pitch and tell it. Show me why you should be starting. If you've just come about injury, bust the gut. because a cross coming from Amaron, so going across the bar, he's behind. He's not even busting the gut to get in front of the player.
What I'm trying to do is say, Darren, sorry to interrupt again. What I'm trying to say is, though, he's gone to Blackburn, right? And he's put other players in front of him playing on that pitch. And what's he going to think? And it's an FA Cup game. They're playing a less strength side, weren't they? And people were coming in for other players, and he's on the bench still.
He's been out for a long time, Spinny.
I know, but not as long as Willie can them, though, mate. That's what I was pointing.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but it's I prefer to play goal all day long.
Ian Bottom was rested, wasn't he? So that's what I think.
Didn't that do Botman the world of good? By the way, that's something.
And I'm talking about attacking on. I mean, going gives a hell of a lot more going forward and a lot more creativity going forward. So that's why I think Eddie Howe had to play going. Do you know what I mean? And he's probably a lot more advanced in it than Barnes.
I don't know if he's more advanced than Barnes, I made. No way.
I know, my opinion is very none. I'm just saying, I want more off Harvey Barnes. I want him to bust the gut to get in front of the defender, but he wasn't. Even Danny, I'm not a great fan of Danny Murphy. Even he said commentary, he's not busting the gut to get in front of the player. I was so disappointed in that. Even when he comes out, I want him to see him bust the gut until he busted.
Was it not Danny Murphy that said that Bruno was never going to be a top quality midfielder?
I know, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about what he said.
That's the same Danny Murphy.
I agree with him. I want to see if even a player come off the bench, I want to see he got 110%, and to me, he didn't do it enough against that. And they say he's got a lot to learn, and I think he's going to be in out all season on the bench, and probably next season we'll probably see a lot more of him. That's just what I think.
But Danny Murphy, by the way, saying that about Bruno, could not lace Bruno's fucking left boot. You know what I mean?
I know
he couldn't lace Miggy's right boot. That knob. You know what I mean?
We've got a conversation now. All I said was what Danny. I don't agree.
I'm
with
not
Danny.
going to go at you.
And I'm saying, but like Danny Murphy put what I was saying. He wasn't busting the gut to get in front of the player. He was outside the box, bust the gut, getting so going wanting the ball. He didn't do it for me.
Okay, we'll give the final word to George tonight. George, Harvey Barnes.
Well, Harvey Barnes. I'm waiting to see the real Harvey Barnes, because as well as being very quick, what I've seen of him so far, and when he was at Leicester as well, I was glad we got him instead of Maddison. He reads the game well. He mixes in with the rest of the team well. Harvey Barnes will be a big player for us. It may take till next year. I've got a sneaking fancy it might come sooner, though, if he gets a couple more games under his belt. So I'm happy with Harvey Barnes that he's here and looking forward to what he can do. Maybe a bit tentative because of the silly injury he had. It was a freak injury, and he not wanted again. But no, I'm happy with Harvey Barnes and looking forward to what he'll do in the weeks and the years ahead, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, if he scores the winning goal in the FA Cup final this year, I'd be all for that.
Wouldn't we all?
Great show tonight, lads. Next week, of course, Newcastle play Chelsea on Monday night. I'm not going to the game, so Spenny suggested we might do a watch along. Is there anybody up for it on here? Is there anybody up for watching the match and talking? Are you who's going to the match?
I'm going.
Is it
good?
Is it here?
Oh God! Another delay inbound with Ian going with it.
It's on Sky. It's on Sky. It's away from home, George.
All right.
So
I'll be here. So.
Do you fancy a little roving reporter? I've got my friend Sarah. She's a very good-looking girl.
We'll get you on. So what I'll do is
she's a good-looking girl.
I will send the message out. We'll see what the crack is. But
not as good as my Emily.
If we can't do a
don't delay kick-off, Ian.
If we can't do a watch along, then we will do the fans forum at 6. We'll see.
I'm ready for a watch along. Me definitely.
So you sing along as well. Sing along.
Set it up, and I'll try and join in. Yeah.
I think everybody's seen it Saturday night.
Kevin, is it too late for you, or can you do it? Will it be too
late
for you?
Our clocks go forward. No, our clocks go forward, so depends on the amount of rain and stuff that we have. That's 4 o'clock kickoff my time, so then I can only watch.
Get the moonshine out. Get
Ray,
the
you're
sunshine
not
out.
going to get flooded, pal.
Barry, what about
I'll
you?
do that. I've got to work, man.
Yep, I'll do it.
Barry's up for it. Chippers.
I should be able to if depends on.
Yeah.
Chippers. Alan.
I'll be hiding in a conservatory waiting for the score.
Come on, now, get on here,
Come on, man. How am
Get on here, Alan, man. We're
Oh, come on.
Suffer with the rest
Can I
of us.
just-
Give us
one
the
more
link
thing
and
before
people,
we
come
go.
on.
Okay, well, I'll stick the link in the chat as always for you, Alan. Spenny's on. Lee, are you up for it?
Yeah, I'm up for it, mate.
Good stuff. And we'll have roving reporter Ian Sutcliffe on the
I'll
move.
leave the game though,
As
mate.
well, Stevie, I've just realised that I've told George that I'm away Sunday because I go down Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
I'm paying George's taxi fare to your house, mate.
I'll finish you off Monday and Tuesday. I'll finish you off Monday and Tuesday.
It's all right, Ian. I'll keep your slippers warm.
Yeah, I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I'm back tomorrow night with Geordie's here. Geordie's there. But this is Been the Fans Forum. Thanks to Chippers, to Alan, to Spenny, to Lee, to Ian, to Barry, to Kevin, to Daz, and to George. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Right,
Thanks,
lads.
lads.
Good to see you, boys.
Lad.